So it's kind of Vikings from the other perspective, would you say?
Yeah, it's no. No.
No. Hello and welcome to Film Crickets, where we review movies and acting and TV and things and whatever we want.
Yes, we do, don't we, Marnie?
Yes, we do.
Yep. I'm Gino and this is Marnie.
Hello.
Hi.
And what are we cricketing today?
Today we're cricketing a Netflix original series.
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Last Kingdom. We've been sort of on this British theme over the last couple of cricket sessions.
Yep.
We did The Outlander and
mercy.
I know it's a really good one. So if you haven't seen that one, go ahead and have a look at that one. But this is The Last Kingdom, which is essentially about the invasion of the Danes into England. And
So it's kind of Vikings from the other perspective, would you say?
yeah, it's no. No.
No. Right.
It's a good question because there's Vikings, which is been out for a little while now.
And these shows aren't connected, are they?
No, they're not connected.
Other than they're similarly based in history, but not
Similar, same storyline, historic storyline.
creative teams behind them are not.
I don't think so. Actually, I probably haven't done enough research on that to know, but. Very similar look and feel though. Vikings is probably a little bit more authentic, I would say, a little bit more raw, but there's probably budgets and stuff like that. I think come into play, but it is the same storyline. It's essentially what it is it follows a story arc of Alfred the Great, which is it's all sort of built. It's all filmed in historical. It's all real event based on real events. So they've got real characters or real people that existed. So it's Alfred the Great, which is the king of Wessex in 800 AD. So it's Middle Ages, and just how him as a king dealt with the invasion of the Danes, and but they follow this storyline of Uhtred of Uhtred, who Uhtred, father of Uhtred. He essentially, the storyline is spoiler alert, but the storyline is essentially his family gets ransacked by the Vikings, and everyone gets killed except him and his sister, and the Vikings keep him alive and essentially raise him as a Viking. So he's a Saxon raised as a Viking, and when he becomes of age, he essentially helps the Vikings. But then what happens is there's a series of events where he gets captured and taken into Alfred the Great, into the King of Wessex, and he basically agrees to an oath to the king to protect him and his kingdom. And so this is why I love this story, is that essentially talks about this this sort of fight within himself. In that he knows he's English, been raised as a Viking, and he fights on either side, but he now has this oath for the king. So the Vikings respect him, but what's happened is he's taken all the Viking ways of fighting and how they sort of structure themselves, because they were supreme war lords. They were very tactical in terms of being able to win battles and stuff. And so he brings that into the English side, or over to the Saxons, and so that's why there becomes these sort of battles that the English win sometimes and the Vikings win, because they have very similar.
Because
and
he's sort of taken that knowledge over.
He's taken that strategic knowledge into and so
So does he remember who he is exactly?
He remembers where he's from, Uhtred of Bebbanbear, which is the northern part of England. So
because he was the
son of I missed that out. He was the son of a lord.
And does he remember that? or not?
He remembers parts of it because when they ransacked his family, he was about 8 years old or something like that. So he was.
Oh yeah, I mean, I suppose he would.
8 or 9, I think it was something like that. So he remembers his family and he remembers where he came from, but he essentially adopts the whole Viking way of living and loves that whole thing. And again, we touched on this with Outlander. The paganism versus Christianity is so highlighted in this series. Absolutely love how they deal with it. You know, one side's about God and that, and then the other side's all about the multiple gods that the Vikings have. You know, many gods and the paganism stuff. It was really done. Really well.
I liked that one of the initial conversations when he was a young boy with his priest, talking about how they, you know, in England used to be pagans as well.
Yes.
Yeah. That's really interesting. They've never done that I've seen on a show like this.
Yeah.
So they have the young characters questioning Christianity like that. They all seem to be, you know, completely converted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I've always wondered about, like, even back in the olden days, were people always fully converted or?
No, I don't. I think there was this. Even the king. This was the great thing about this series is that even the king, who was straight up Christian, God fearing person, he seemed to accept some of the paganism ways still, and so it must have been this part where Christianity and paganism was kind of crossing quite a bit, you know, and. Or this sort of time within history that this happened, but they convey it in a way that when the king needs the paganism side, he played on that.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with Uhtred having that Viking spirit, he used it to his advantage. He knew that Uhtred could defeat a lot of the Vikings or the battles, so he kept him on side almost. And told that the whole thing about. Keep your keep your enemies close and your friends closer, or no, keep your friends close but your enemies even closer. Something like that. So it's that whole thing that he saw in that. However, over the arc of the story, they actually end up having this incredible bond and just belief in each other that's just not broken throughout the whole storyline.
It sounds like how in Vikings Ragnar was with the priest that he captures and their relationship.
I haven't seen the Viking. I've only seen a couple of episodes of the Viking, so I don't know. But I know it's been filmed in a similar way. Yeah. So that would probably
Interesting.
There is a priest that is common throughout the whole. He's in it. You know, he's sort of common. He's the one who raised Uhtred. Well, he was there in his life till he was 8 or whatever, and then when the Vikings came in, he was still, the priest was still there guiding him, helping him through his life. So this was based on real events. Not sure whether the Uhtred character was real. There was I've done a little bit of research, and there was documentation that said that he existed, but not in that time frame. It was a little bit like a few hundred years later.
Loosely based.
Yeah, it's loosely based. But look, I think it was very well done. You've watched a little bit of it.
I've seen a little bit of it. Not enough to comment yet, but I did like what I saw. Yeah. And I also like Vikings too, so this seems in that similar vein. Different, but yeah.
It's that the story of the he's the protagonist in the story, but he's always it's a little bit like Outlander and Claire, in that nothing ever seems to be going right. There always seems to be something going wrong. Like he has 3 wives in the series, and they all end up like they either die or like there's this whole he's just people are dying around him all the time, and his parents die and his family, and then all his wives end up dying, just natural causes or through whatever. But it's just you feel sorry for the guy, but me, I do love everything, everything British in that time. The Scottish, English. I just love the stories of that era. Back in the Middle Ages, and I love that whole stuff. So I think it's done very well, filmed very well. Storyline is very good as well. Yeah.
So what would you give it out of 10?
Look, I get ready for it, mate. I think. Look, I reckon it's close to a 10, but Outlander, for me is just that little bit more above. So I'd give it a 9.
Is it as sexy as Outlander? Because I'm probably not going to watch it if it's not.
No. Yes. I would have to say there are some pretty raunchy type scenes.
All right.
It's not as romantic because it follows. I mean, let's be honest. Claire in Outlander is, we follow her mainly, and she's, willing to do a few things. Whereas, I think she's kind of like, it's more romantic following her than following a Viking guy who's, killing people and, it just, you do, there is romance in it, but, it's certainly not the thread of the series. And you see him falling in love and all that sort of stuff, but not on the scale of Outlander, no.
Okay, well, I mean, I'll still watch it then, but,
Yeah, no, I think you'll enjoy it.
I did like Vikings once I got past the initial, I guess, just shock at how brutal they are, especially in that, did you see Vikings episode, the first couple, where they storm that monastery and just kill everyone there except for one person, and they're not even fighting back, and you're just like, am I supposed to be on these guys' team?
Yeah, I know.
Show about them?
I know. Yeah, well, look, you go through this ping pong of wanting to say, I do like the Vikings. So but then you think, oh no, the English are great. They've got this more civilized view, not as as brutal. But then you think, the Vikings are great. They've got their paganism sort of ways and beliefs, and that, I don't know, that just seem a lot more open to whatever versus God fearing, and you have to. So they have this whole dynamic working in the series, and that's what I love. I love that whole juxta of that story going on.
Almost a 10. That's pretty impressive.
Hey, it is. Yeah. What would you give it, Manny? From what you've seen?
From what I've seen, yeah. I mean, you know what I give everything.
Yeah, you can't give it a 10.
But I will.
You've probably not seen it. No, but yeah, look.
I mean, TBD, to be determined.
TBD.
But I reckon it'll probably be a 10.
I think so too.
Most things are. Look, it's really good. I was invested from what I saw.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I will continue to watch it.
So yeah, give it a go if you're looking for something else to watch on Netflix. It's you got to give it a few episodes because you do have to get past the fact that he's a boy, and then he in the other episodes he grows up, he's a man, and that's when the story really starts. So you have to give it a few episodes in, and hope you enjoy it.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.
Bye.